What if the greatest threat to your future is not failure, bad luck, or the people standing against you? What if the real danger is that, little by little, you are becoming a man who no longer believes in himself? The most dangerous decline is not the one everyone can see. It is the one that happens quietly, when your self-worth becomes dependent on other people's approval instead of your own character. Most men never notice the moment it begins. At first it seems harmless. You care a little too much about what people think. You hesitate before making a decision because you wonder how others will judge you. You avoid speaking honestly because you fear rejection. You start changing your personality depending on who you're around, hoping to be accepted by everyone. None of these choices feel significant on their own, but repeated often enough, they slowly reshape the man you become without realizing it. You stop living according to your own principles and begin living according to other people's expectations. This is where true weakness begins. A man who constantly seeks validation slowly hands over control of his life. His confidence rises when he is praised and collapses when he is criticized. His happiness depends on likes, compliments, attention, or approval. Every opinion becomes a mirror in which he searches for his identity. But a mirror can only reflect what is placed before it. If your identity depends entirely on the opinions of others, then every criticism feels like an attack, every rejection feels like proof of failure, and every disagreement becomes a threat to your self-worth. This is an exhausting way to live. Many people mistake confidence for popularity. They believe the most respected man is the one everyone likes. Yet history repeatedly shows something different. The men remembered for their strength were rarely those who tried to satisfy everyone. They were willing to stand alone when their values demanded it. They understood that respect earned through character lasts far longer than approval gained through pleasing others. Self-respect and validation are not the same. Validation asks, do they accept me? Self-respect asks, can I respect myself after this decision? One question makes you dependent, the other makes you free. This does not mean ignoring feedback or refusing to learn from others. Wise people listen carefully, but they do not surrender their identity to every opinion they hear. They are open to growth without becoming prisoners of public approval. Imagine carrying a compass through a dense forest. As long as you trust the compass, you continue moving in the right direction, even when the path becomes difficult. But if you throw away the compass and begin following every voice you hear, you will spend your life walking in circles. Your principles are that compass. Without them, every opinion pulls you in a different direction. A man who knows who he is does not need constant reassurance. He works quietly, improves consistently, and allows his actions to speak louder than his desire for recognition. He understands that approval is temporary, but character remains, long after applause has faded. The strongest confidence is not built by hearing people tell you that you are enough. It is built by repeatedly proving to yourself that you can keep your word, face discomfort, and live according to your values even when no one is watching. That is the beginning of becoming a man others naturally respect, not because you chase their approval, but because you stopped needing it. And once you stop living for validation, you become strong enough to face the discomfort that transforms ordinary men into exceptional ones. The moment you stop living for other people's approval, life presents you with a new challenge. It asks a simple but uncomfortable question. What will you do when life becomes difficult? Your answer to that question shapes the man you become far more than your talent, intelligence, or circumstances ever will. Most men do not become weak overnight. They become weak one comfortable decision at a time. They postpone difficult conversations because avoiding conflict feels easier. They delay important work because entertainment offers immediate pleasure. They refuse to take risks because failure feels uncomfortable. Every small escape seems harmless in the moment, but together they create a habit that slowly changes a person's character. Comfort is attractive because it asks nothing from you. Growth is difficult because it demands everything. The strange thing about discomfort is that it never truly disappears. If you avoid today's challenge, it usually returns tomorrow, often larger than before. The conversation you refuse to have becomes a relationship filled with resentment. The responsibility you postpone becomes a crisis. The fear you avoid quietly grows because it has never been challenged. Fear becomes stronger when it is obeyed, but it becomes weaker when it is faced. Think back to a time when you dreaded doing something difficult. Perhaps it was speaking in front of people, applying for an opportunity, admitting a mistake, or beginning a new chapter of your life. Before taking action, your mind likely imagined every possible way things could go wrong. Yet once you finally acted, you discovered something surprising. The challenge was rarely as terrifying as your imagination made it seem. This is how the mind protects itself. It often exaggerates discomfort to keep you where you are familiar. Familiarity feels safe, even when it keeps you trapped. That is why many people remain in situations that no longer help them. They choose the pain they already know, instead of the uncertainty that could help them grow. A man who always chooses comfort slowly loses confidence, not because he lacks ability, but because he never gives himself evidence that he can overcome difficulty. Confidence is not created by positive thinking alone. It is built through repeated experiences of facing fear, enduring hardship, and discovering that you are stronger than you believed. Every difficult decision kept, every responsibility accepted, and every obstacle overcome becomes proof that your character is growing. Discipline is born in those moments. Many people wait until they feel ready before taking action. But readiness rarely arrives first. Action creates readiness. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is moving forward while fear is still present. There is an important difference between unnecessary suffering and meaningful struggle. Wisdom does not ask you to seek pain for its own sake. It asks you not to run away from the challenges that give life meaning. Training your body is uncomfortable. Learning new skills is uncomfortable. Accepting responsibility is uncomfortable. Telling the truth when it is difficult is uncomfortable. Yet these are the very experiences that build resilience. Every meaningful transformation asks for temporary discomfort in exchange for lasting strength. The men who inspire respect are rarely those who found life easy. They are the ones who refuse to let difficulty decide their direction. Instead of asking, "How can I avoid this challenge?" they learn to ask, "Who will I become if I face it?" That single question changes everything. Because every time you choose discipline over comfort, you build a version of yourself that no obstacle can easily break. And once you stop running from discomfort, you begin searching for something even greater, a purpose strong enough to make every sacrifice worthwhile. Once you learn to face discomfort instead of running from it, another question begins to shape your life. What are you suffering for? Because the truth is, every man suffers. Some suffer from discipline, while others suffer from regret. Some struggle while building a meaningful future, while others struggle because they never chose a direction at all. The difference is purpose. A man without purpose rarely remains still. He simply becomes distracted. When there is no meaningful mission guiding your days, your attention naturally drifts toward whatever offers the fastest reward. Endless scrolling, temporary pleasures, constant entertainment, and empty distractions begin filling the space where ambition should have been. These habits do not arrive because you are incapable. They arrive because the mind always searches for something to pursue. And if you do not give it a worthy goal, it will settle for immediate gratification. Pleasure is not the enemy. Living only for pleasure is. There is nothing wrong with rest, laughter, or enjoying life. The danger begins when comfort becomes your highest priority. A man who spends every day chasing what feels good in the moment often sacrifices what would have made him proud in the future. Look at the strongest people you admire. They all had moments when they chose purpose over convenience. They woke up when they wanted to sleep. They continued learning when others stopped trying. They stayed committed when motivation disappeared. Their success was not built on constant excitement. It was built on commitment to something greater than temporary feelings. Purpose changes the way you see obstacles. Without purpose, every setback feels like a reason to quit. With purpose, every setback becomes another step on the journey. That is why two men can experience the same hardship and respond completely differently. One sees only frustration. The other sees an opportunity to become stronger. The circumstances may be identical, but the meaning they assign to those circumstances is entirely different. Meaning gives hardship value. Without meaning, even small problems feel unbearable. With meaning, even great challenges become worth enduring. Many men spend years asking, "What do I want from life?" A more powerful question is, "What kind of man do I want to become?" Because purpose is not only about achieving success. It is about shaping your character through the pursuit of something that matters. You do not need a perfect plan before taking your first step. You only need a direction worth moving toward. As you continue walking, your purpose becomes clearer. Every lesson, every failure, and every victory teaches you something about yourself. The path is rarely revealed all at once. It unfolds through action, not endless waiting. Do not measure your life by how much pleasure you experience. Measure it by how much meaning you create. The world will always offer distractions. There will always be another video to watch, another excuse to delay your goals. another reason to settle for less than your potential. But every hour spent escaping your future is an hour you can never recover. A focused man understands this. He guards his time because he knows it is the one resource that cannot be earned back. He chooses long-term purpose over short-term comfort, knowing that today's discipline becomes tomorrow's freedom. When your life is guided by purpose instead of pleasure, your decisions begin changing naturally. And as your decisions change, so do your daily habits, because your future is never built by one great moment, but by the small actions you repeat every single day. Purpose gives your life a direction, but direction alone is never enough. A map means very little if you refuse to take the next step. This is where many men lose their momentum. They dream about becoming stronger, more disciplined, and more successful, yet their daily habits continue pulling them toward the same old life. The future is not built by your intentions, it is built by your routines. Many people wait for a burst of motivation before changing their lives. They tell themselves, "Tomorrow I'll start. Next week I'll become consistent. When I feel inspired, everything will change." But motivation is unpredictable. Some mornings it appears. Many mornings it doesn't. If your progress depends only on how you feel, your future will always rise and fall with your emotions. Discipline works differently. Discipline continues even when excitement disappears. Think about a sculptor shaping a block of stone. No single strike of the hammer creates the masterpiece. Each careful movement seems almost insignificant on its own, yet after thousands of repeated actions, the shape begins to appear. Your habits work the same way. One workout will not transform your body. One book will not transform your mind. One honest conversation will not transform your character. But repeated consistently, these small actions quietly create a completely different person. This is why habits are so powerful. They make your future predictable. If you repeat the same actions every day, you should not be surprised when tomorrow looks exactly like yesterday. Change begins the moment your daily choices begin changing. Many men underestimate the danger of small compromises, sleeping a little longer, avoiding one responsibility, delaying one important task, breaking one promise to themselves. None of these decisions seem life-changing in isolation, but character is not shaped by dramatic moments. It is shaped by repeated patterns. Every promise you keep to yourself strengthens self-respect. Every promise you repeatedly break weakens it. This is how confidence is quietly built, not through loud declarations, not through motivational speeches, but through evidence. When you tell yourself you will wake up early and you do it, your mind records that evidence. When you commit to learning a skill and continue practicing despite difficulty, your mind records more evidence. Every disciplined action becomes proof that your words can be trusted. Eventually, you stop needing constant motivation because your identity begins changing. You are no longer trying to become disciplined. You become a disciplined man. That shift is everything. People often search for one secret that will transform their lives overnight. But lasting transformation rarely arrives through dramatic breakthroughs. It comes through ordinary actions repeated with extraordinary consistency. Ride one more page. Take one more step. Keep one more promise. Improve by 1 more %. These choices may seem invisible today, but they compound over months and years into a life that looks completely different. Remember this: success and failure both grow quietly. One habit can lead toward strength, another can lead toward regret. Neither announces itself in the beginning. The difference becomes visible only after enough time has passed. That is why wise men protect their routines more carefully than their comfort. They understand that every morning offers another opportunity to shape the person they are becoming. Because your habits are not simply things you do, they are daily votes for the man you will eventually become. And once you begin mastering your habits, the next challenge is even greater: accepting complete responsibility for the life those habits create. One habit separates boys from men more than almost anything else. It is not intelligence, it is not money, it is not talent, it is responsibility. The moment you begin blaming everyone else for your circumstances, you quietly surrender the power to change them. It feels comforting to point at difficult parents, unfair opportunities, bad luck, society, or the people who betrayed you. Sometimes those hardships are real. Sometimes life truly is unfair. But no matter how true those circumstances are, they cannot become the foundation of your future. Excuses may explain your situation, they can never transform it. A man who constantly blames the world waits for someone else to rescue him. A man who accepts responsibility begins building his own future, even with imperfect tools. Responsibility is not admitting that everything is your fault. It is deciding that your next decision is your responsibility. That single shift changes everything. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" ask, "What can I do now?" Instead of waiting for perfect conditions, begin working with the conditions you have. Every challenge contains something you can control: your effort, your discipline, your attitude, or your response. The strongest men are not those who face the easiest lives. They are the ones who refuse to let hardship become an excuse for remaining weak. The day you stop blaming others is the day you stop giving them power over your future. You become the author of your own life instead of a spectator waiting for circumstances to improve. Responsibility is heavy, but it is also liberating. Because once you realize your future is built by your choices, you no longer need permission, sympathy, or perfect conditions to begin changing. And the man who accepts complete responsibility is finally ready to face his greatest challenge. Not the world around him, but the untapped potential still waiting within him. In the end, the greatest battle is not against failure, rejection, or the opinions of other people. It is against the man you could have become but chose not to be. Few things are more painful than reaching the end of your journey and realizing your greatest potential was left unexplored because fear, comfort, or hesitation always had the final word. Every man carries two versions of himself. One seeks the easy path, avoids responsibility, and settles for excuses. The other embraces discipline, accepts discomfort, and grows stronger through every challenge. The question is not which version exists. The question is which one you feed each day. You do not become a high-value man through status, expensive possessions, or the approval of strangers. Those things may impress people for a moment, but they cannot replace integrity, discipline, courage, and purpose. Real value is built in private, through the promises you keep, the habits you repeat, and the standards you refuse to compromise. There will always be another excuse to wait, another reason to delay your goals, another voice telling you that tomorrow is a better time to begin. But tomorrow has stolen more dreams than failure ever has. Start with one decision. Choose discipline over comfort. Choose purpose over distraction. Choose responsibility over excuses. Those choices, repeated consistently, will shape a life that no shortcut can ever create. The world does not need a perfect man. It needs a man who is willing to face himself honestly, improve relentlessly, and stand firm when life becomes difficult. The greatest transformation begins the moment you stop asking how to appear valuable and start becoming valuable through your character. Because the man who masters himself will never have to convince the world of his worth. His life will speak for him.